Welcome to the President's Podcast. My name is Carrie Glazer, and I'm the executive producer here at ACCTV, in for Jessica Vest, who is out sick today. And today, our topic for the President's Podcast is tech in the classroom at Austin Community College. I'd like to introduce our guests. First, our co-host, Dr. Richard Rhodes, our CEO and president of Austin Community College. Welcome.
Good day, Carrie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for co-hosting this today.
Oh, no, thank you. I love it. We also have Patty Duncan, ACC Professor of Integrated Reading and Writing and College English. We have Tom Neville, ACC Arts and Digital Media Dean.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And lastly, we have Samantha Akers, ACC Associate Professor of English. She is also an academic coach, and she teaches student development here.
Thank you, and happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for coming. Dr. Rhodes, I know this is a near and dear initiative to your heart here at ACC. I mean, we're in Austin, one of the tech capitals of the world. Why tech in the classroom?
It's because it's what's expected. It's expected by business and industry. It is also expected by students when they come to us. And so how do we integrate technology within the classroom and actually make the classroom experience more vibrant, more robust, and find better ways to engage students? As students and as technology is becoming more a part of everyday life, how do you make it a part of everyday teaching? And so it's, participation in the Digital Fellows has just been, I think, an amazing project.
Yes.
And we've got two of our faculty members who have participated in the Digital Fellows and have learned different ways and have had the opportunity to experiment with different ways to how you incorporate that within. And so maybe I'll start with Patty and say, how was it? What was the experience like? And how have you used it?
Okay, so I applied for Digital Fellows because it's about problem solving. They want us to solve a problem with technology, which I was all for. So the problem that I wanted to solve was to help students analyze the readings that they do for the course better, and also to try to help them avoid plagiarizing.
Right.
Plagiarism is still an issue, even at this level. So I want to address those issues. So this is my third semester to teach iPads in the classroom. So I just hope I keep continuing it. But I found apps that help students manage their course readings, create colorful notes, and I introduced them to accessibility features so that they had a wider opportunity to use, hearing and kinesthetic and listen to things, and so just engage more with technology. So students imported their course readings and practice exercises into an app called Liquid Text. And it allowed them to highlight their text, write on their text, and they could touch the text and drag it over into a margin, which that was one of their favorite things because it's very kinesthetic. You're moving, you're not just highlighting. Students used a program called Corkulus to create colorful notes, and that was a lot of fun because it's literally a corkboard, and they can drag and drop and create very colorful note-taking apps. And then I allowed them to use those notes to take their midterm exams to incentivize good notes. So that was fun. I had students use Natural Reader to listen to their course readings read out loud for students who, aren't as text-driven, not as big as readers as we want them to be. And to listen, they also used Natural Reader to listen to their own text read aloud so they could listen to the flow of it and listen for typos, which was fun. Because we all get tired of reading our own work. I wish I had that when I was going through school. So that was a good one. My favorite, though, is I used Loom to create videos to give feedback on their assignments. So I would open their text on my computer or my iPad, either one, and I would create a video and I would point out certain things that they need to work on. And that students absolutely loved because they could listen to it over and over again, and I didn't have to keep repeating things. So I saved a lot of time by not having sit-down conferences. They still came to me and asked questions, but that really covered a lot for them. So that was they got it back faster through the video feedback. They also had access to the Crayon, which is the Logitech version of the iPencil. So they didn't have to buy highlighters or pens. They didn't have to buy binders because everything's on the iPad. So literally, you could carry that around with you pretty much anywhere. And the crayon, lots of colors. So, a lot of John Medina's work for Brain Rules talked about using color and images. Our brain loves that. And so they were able to do that with technology in a way that you can't do that as well in a classroom with just pencil and paper.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And so we actually gave the students the iPads to use in the class.
Absolutely.
And the crayon.
And to be able to use the pencil. And so I had the opportunity a few weeks ago to go to Apple in Cupertino to participate on a panel to talk about some of the relationship that we have with Apple here at ACC. And so a part of that visit there was they actually had us use iPads and use the digital pencil. I was a little boy back in first grade again, so I started playing with it and drawing longhorns all over the
Doodling.
doodling,
Nice.
doodling, and great. You can change colors, and so you can. I could really have a burnt orange longhorn on my paper, on my iPad.
And one thing I did know, or I tried over the summer when I tried this, is they created videos using their iPads. So they had to teach each other how to use a feature on the iPad by creating a video and then posting it on YouTube and then logging in and making sure that their text, for say the hearing impaired, actually had the right periods and spelling and so forth. Because my hearing impaired students tell me that they don't use YouTube and things because the text is so poor sometimes that they can't follow it. So that was a great experience for them.
How did you learn all of this software and kind of app programs to bring into the iPad? Like most of these I've never even heard of. How did you learn about all of these?
We went on a
they provide?
search.
Yeah.
We went searching for different things. I finished the Apple Teacher Program.
Absolutely,
Certified in
the
that just to
training.
become more involved in what the technology offered, and we just kept looking around, talking to each other.
Cohorts.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
nursing program, I know they do a lot of, when they're doing needles or different things, they loved it because the students were able to take videos using the iPad and then rewatch those. And
So helpful
That was great.
with the learning experience.
It's
right?
not a one and done. It's something
Yeah.
because
Continually.
repetition is where you really begin to learn.
Absolutely.
Exactly, yeah.
And along with Patty's experience, we were in the same cohort. So we searched apps. Most of her apps I use as well. However, I use it with my EDCU class. It's the class where it's that effective learning student success class. So I was just simple with it. I wanted to get the students to actually do the assignments, turn them in, and engage. So I had two classes that I used, my iPad class and my traditional paper and pencil class. Although we're technology in both classes, the iPad class students received everything they needed, yet they did the same assignments through the iPad. So every major assignment from the first class, they came in and I did the Oprah Winfrey thing. You're gonna get an iPad, you're gonna get an iPad. They all received iPads, and it was a change of their whole engagement process. Most of them didn't have technology on their own. So to receive an iPad for one class that they can use for all of their classes blew their minds. So I was true to the course. We did a lot of research to get the best apps. Most of them were free.
Yes.
And the ones that we had to pay for, the budget allowed it. Thank you very much. And it was fantastic, where as the professors, we went through as students would. So we found different awesome apps that worked and some that didn't work. So from day one, we did apps. Everything, our favorite thing, we had an Apple TV in the class.
Yes.
So when you come in, you drop your assignment and you take over the classroom. So everyone, for the beginning and the end, traditional class, iPad enhancement, 100% participation and attendance.
Wow.
My traditional class, they were behind by teens. I didn't want to bring numbers because I know you're a numbers guy, but double digits, they were behind in turning in assignments. Same assignments, same wonderful professor. It's just getting that engagement, getting that we're learning together in its technology. And the beautiful part of it is my students with SAS, they were fine. They were fantastic in sharing and learning and being engaged because of an iPad. So the intervention for my part, just basically testing attendance, turning in major assignments, and participation and engagement, 100%.
Awesome.
So,
You know,
yes.
and Apple's been a great partner with ACC along the way, and it probably dates back, a couple of years ago, CEO for Apple, Tim Cook, came to Austin and gave ACC Swift code so that we could begin to use it and teach with it. And they kind of upped the game last summer by integrating our ability to work with K-12 institutions and to bring some teachers from, especially the school districts that have large percentages of low-income students, first-generation students, to begin to teach teachers how to integrate the use of technology in the classroom through Swift code. And I remember one of the projects that one of the faculty members at one of the schools came up with. I think she called it, because they developed their own app, and I think she called it App 13. And people said, well, what is an App 13? And 13 was the jersey number for one of her best friends who was in high school. And that friend had committed suicide. And so the app that she developed was a suicide prevention app.
Wow.
And to see, how in this type of a training program, the different types of uses of technology, not only to teach, but also to help and aid students who are going through struggles, because one of the troubles that we have with all of our students, life gets in the way and things happen. And how do we help them get through those issues?
Now, it's funny you shared that story, because in my course, we have the Self-Change Project. It's an 8-week project that we do for 8 weeks. In the end, because we had the Apple TV, everyone was able to show the class their work. And one student said that that class with that iPad was the only reason that got him out of the house every day. And I noticed he texted throughout the class, "I'm so cool, I don't say anything." And I'm glad I didn't, because in his self-change, he said that he's able to text, to stay in touch, to stay where he is, to get through the day. So that pad was his window to actually coming to class. Did my class, your class, and the rest of the classes. So yeah, it's an amazing tool that gets them engaged, and it gets them to their next step.
Yeah, and it creates a relationship and a connectivity with you all also.
Absolutely.
And Tom, you were instrumental in bringing something to ACC that's been phenomenal and is growing. And it made ACC the first in the nation.
That's true.
To adopt Adobe Cloud, Campus Clouds. Could you talk a little bit about how that developed and what it actually does for students?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're uniquely poised because, as you mentioned, we are the first community college in the United States to be an Adobe Creative Campus. So we're going to tout that quite a bit. Because it's really relevant to the skills that students need in a digital workforce that we are really encompassing these days. So we're pushing digital literacy across all disciplines. It really did start in arts and digital media because it's so embedded in our curriculum already. Most of the applications in the Creative Cloud, if you think of programs like Photoshop or InDesign or Premiere Pro, which does video editing or photo editing and those types of digital tools that most industry uses, but bringing that to more of an entry-level point to where students from any discipline can basically go from consumers of content to creators of content, which, as we already touched on, was very successful in your courses. So by giving access to all students at the college, faculty and staff, we all have access to these resources, this toolbox, if you will, to create these types of activities.
And I mean, I would even say as staff here at ACCTV uses the Adobe suite, I mean, daily, with After Effects, Premiere
We
Pro.
were just talking about teaching Dr. Rhodes how he's going to make some memes
Yes.
through Adobe Spark.
That is going to be quite a job.
Website?
Yeah, it's going to be great.
It's definitely user-friendly.
Yeah, your Twitter feed's going to blow up.
But Tom, I mean, this initiative that you brought to ACC, I mean, students can access the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite for like $10 a semester, right?
Correct.
Which is normally, I mean, hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. So
probably,
so
right?
students, if you're a student, your first year as a student is $20 a month. Then it goes up from there after your first initial trial year to about $400 a year. So it's a great cost savings for our students. For courses that are requiring it in the class, it's $10 a semester. So for all other students, it's $50 a semester, which is still a tremendous savings overall compared to paying for the, and then professional levels up to about $800 a year.
Wow.
So it's a great tool and resource. So come sign up for classes at ACC and get the Adobe Creative Cloud for $50.
Yeah, it's amazing.
that.
On that note, we're actually going to take a quick break and show a little promotion that shows a bit more of the bells and whistles that the Adobe Creative Suite entails. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the President's Podcast on technology in the classroom. And this is an exciting part where we're joined by one of our famous students.
Yes, Dr. Rhodes, we have Claudia Chavez Perez, who's a paralegal associate's degree student, correct?
Yes.
And we're excited to chat with you about your experience with technology in the classroom. So tell us a little bit about that and how it's been going.
Well, I mean, first of all, when I find out that I was going to get a tablet to have in the class, I was freaking out. I'm like, how am I going to handle this responsibility of having
Pressure.
Yes, of having a tablet that belongs to the school? I don't want to have it.
Right.
But then, I went into the library, I got it, and everything was so easy, having a tablet. Like in general, everything was so easy.
And so was it incorporated into all of your classes?
No.
Okay.
But I did.
Okay.
It wasn't by the school, but I did. I brought
Okay.
it with me everywhere. I took notes, and I did it as I was doing with Ms. Duncan's class. Then
Sure.
I would bring it everywhere because I didn't have a laptop then.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so that was my only tool.
So it became your computer almost
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, and then now that I have it, my computer's at home, and then tablet.
And now you say, what would I do without it?
Yes, honestly, like I bring it everywhere, and then actually the tablet I got it from a very special person after that class because she knew I didn't have a computer, and so yes, I actually bring it everywhere. I take pictures, write notes on top of the pictures, check my Blackboard everywhere. So yes.
Wow. So who was that very special person?
Right here.
Isn't she wonderful? She's a wonderful colleague.
She's like my mom, honestly.
She's an amazing student, though. I mean,
Yeah.
she is so committed to what she does. I'm so proud of her for how hard she's worked and the connection she's made at the college. Starting here with GED, moving up, and she sets goals. She reaches her goals, and I've seen her inspire so many students in the class when I had her in the classroom. She held students accountable in ways I wasn't able to, because she'd be like, "Where were you? Why weren't you here?" So it was a treat to have her as a student.
You want her in every single
I would
class.
love
Superstar student.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So you started at ACC through the GED program.
Yes. So I came to this country to my sister, and I was like, well, I guess I'm here, and I want to learn the language. So I got into the GED, the free program for the English.
Yes.
And then I learned it really quick. And so I went into the GED, and I was passing my classes. It took me a little longer than I thought because of my kids. But then I finished, And I would keep hearing all these opportunities to go to college and scholarships. And I was telling my husband, I'm like, you should finish your college.
You should.
Yes.
Keep
And,
after it.
but then I wasn't focusing on him. And I was like, wait a minute, no, I'm not. And then,
He's
yeah.
next. He's next.
And then, yeah, so I finished my GED, and I was pregnant by my graduation, so I was like, no, I don't want to walk through it, but I wanted to show the kids. I didn't want to
Yes.
walk through the stage with my
Yes.
big belly. But then
Right.
I did it for the kids. I want
Yes.
them to know what
I
the mom
remember
was
you.
doing.
Yes.
No, you don't.
Yes,
And so that happened, and then right
Yes.
after I finished the GED, I was already signing up for college classes, and this was my
That's-
first amazing teacher, first ever, from
Talk
college.
about connection.
That's amazing.
So yes.
Patty, what does it mean? I mean, the technology, because this brought, utilization of this technology actually brought you really close.
It did.
So, and it's all about, student success is about relationships and how important that is. And so technology, found a way to use technology to really draw a connection. Tell us a little bit, what does that mean to a faculty member?
For me, it was, the technology allowed me in a lot of ways to flip the classroom. And I wasn't tethered to the front of the room where the computer is or where the ladybug is. If I want to broadcast something, I can move around. I could see who was on task, who wasn't on task, get them on the right page, make sure that we're looking at the right handout, that sort of thing. And you do make better connections that way, because when you flip the classroom, you have more time to move around and individualize instruction, which I think that's where we're going with technology.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I enjoyed it also as a faculty, and as you shared, most of the students use the pad for all of their classes, and it was like a lifesaver. So I was able to enjoy the fact that not only my class was getting pretty good for them, but the rest of your classes were pretty good because you were able to take notes and you were able to be more on Blackboard because you had your pad right there. So as a professor, I like to know that that tool traveled wherever you went. You were able to learn and keep growing.
It did, and it was a magnificent tool for all my classes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the technology, having these iPads and just all the technology at ACC in the classroom, does it help students persist and complete their goals, academically, degree-wise? Do you feel like it encourages that? I know, Samantha, you were saying it was a reason why some actually came to class. Does it help them complete, though?
Yes, definitely, because like right now, with my kids, I have 4 children. And then if I go to doctors, I have to finish homework. I have to take them to these appointments, and then I have to submit essays. In some classes, I have a take-home exam.
Yeah.
So what would I do without the iPad? How would I finish and turn in all those things?
It is such a virtual world now that does allow such flexibility for you. That's fantastic.
And think about it. If you're taking a doctor's note, she had an iPad with a keyboard with a crayon, so she could log in and she could type her paper, submit it online. Actually, there's a lot of power to that. She could do her readings on there, and it's not like she's having to carry a book, drag 4 kids. It's the iPad.
Yeah.
She's just carrying
Or
an
several
iPad.
books.
Or several books. Well, a book, a binder, a notepad, pen and paper, or pencil.
Yes,
There's a lot.
something that I want to add is that we have electronic books.
And
Yes.
that's the
So
OER.
having an electronic book, it's like I'm carrying my school everywhere I go. Like
Exactly.
it's there. I have something to read before the next class, and I read it and be done with it.
Absolutely.
So that's another
Yeah.
great thing, having those books.
Yeah.
My second experience within the iPad classroom was a summer class, a 5-week English 1301 class, which terrified me. I almost didn't want to do it because it was dual credit.
Right, right.
And it made me nervous because that's a very fast time
Yeah,
for
period.
the English 1301. And I had 92% passing rate,
Oh my
which I was
God.
thrilled.
That's fantastic.
Because in that fast-paced course, I was really, and I attributed that up to most of the
essential.
technology. That technology was essential.
Right.
For me too, and I honestly think they helped me get a lot of A's.
Absolutely.
So that helps
A's.
because
I
I
love
get
A's.
A lot of A's.
I get things done here and wherever I go.
Oh, dude, you have to multitask, right? As a
Yeah.
mom,
Oh my
yeah, it's the
God.
only way to get anything
Why
done.
wasn't that available when I was a student?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's the
Absolutely.
part that makes me happier the most.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that you said too earlier is like walking across through graduation.
Yes.
Set an example for your kids. You find your kids are using your iPad?
Yes. Well, they all have the little computer from school. So we all get together at our dinner table, and then I'm like, so are you finishing this? Are you working on this? And then the next one, I'm like, are you reading what you're supposed to be reading? And then I'm
Yes.
doing my stuff. So
Taskmaster.
You're a digital family.
Exactly.
and then the baby, he's like playing everywhere. So
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. That gives you good work-life balance.
Oh, yes.
Because with your kids, you have to keep up with them, and technology doesn't have an age to it. So you're definitely living your best life.
yeah, thank
Good
you.
job. We're
The
very
best part
proud
of
of
that
you.
is that they have no excuse. They have, me showing them that I'm getting A's.
Absolutely.
Even with 4 kids and a husband and a house to keep up
Yeah.
with,
Yes.
they have
And a
no
job.
excuse.
Yeah, they have no excuse.
Yeah.
Yes. You've set the bar very high.
Oh yes, and I love that. Yeah,
So
'cause
did you get your husband, is he going back to school?
we're waiting for me to finish.
Okay.
Okay,
know,
one at a
All right.
time.
It's already a lot.
One at a time.
Yeah, so we're waiting for me to finish,
job.
and then I think at his job, they're gonna be paying for his college.
Wow.
That's
So if it's
fantastic.
within,
That's
the,
great, yes.
yeah. So I think that's gonna happen. Me first, and then because I'm a little older, so I want to finish first, and then he's gonna go.
Well, ACC is ready for him when
For
he's ready.
everybody, yes.
Everyone. That is perfect. I'm so happy for you guys.
Thank you.
Claudia, what's sort of your ultimate goal? I know you had mentioned something earlier about becoming a lawyer. Is that sort of the ultimate goal after ACC?
Yes, I think that the only thing
fantastic.
that will slow me down it's the money because law school is super expensive.
We'll get you some scholarships because you're getting lots of A's. That
thank
means
you.
scholarships.
But then in my heart is, I come from Mexico. Mexico is a really hard country.
Right.
And I've seen so many things that all I want to do is make it right with this, with my hands and what's in front of me. That's why I want to be a lawyer.
I think you ought to be a college professor
She can be both.
at ACC.
Probably when I get tired of being a lawyer and dealing with all of that, then I'll come back to ACC.
And you're saying that's what happened to me. I practiced law for 10 years.
See, that's
And
what
when
I'll
the
do.
freeze got unfrozen at ACC, I left the state and came right over here to be a professor. So that's going to happen for you.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and then managing 4 kids, I think I can manage. A classroom.
Yep, I'll give you my number. I'm definitely going to help you reach that goal for
Thank
sure.
you.
And Claudia's
Definitely.
going to apply for the Summer Institute. You want to tell them about that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The Summer Institute
summer-
for have you applied? It's a fantastic opportunity. It's with ACC, Houston Tillotson, and UT, where they're picking about 30 students that are interested in the law, criminal justice
Yeah,
backgrounds.
I will. Do I have to move into campus?
Well, that's funny you mentioned that. When I went to law school, I went because Hurricane Katrina destroyed my beautiful city.
Yes.
I was a married woman with a child, and I went into a program like that at 40 years old. And I had to live on campus, but I didn't because my husband was like, you can't live on campus.
Exactly. Mine's like,
it
what do you
worked
think you're
out-
going?
It worked out where I was able to get an exception because I was an older student, 40.
Oh, then.
And yet I
that's-
still used the scholarship. I was able to start with the same crowd, my cohort, but I got to go home every day because my husband was like, no.
Mine will be no, especially with the kids.
So with your cohort, and I was wonderful with it. I was able to meet, go to class, do everything during the day, but at night I went home to my family.
Okay.
So we're going to get you involved with that because it's perfect for you.
Thank
It
you.
is.
I will
Without
definitely.
It's a
doubt.
great program.
Yes.
We just started participating last year.
See,
Absolutely.
First
I've
time.
never heard of it.
Now we're going to
You'll
get you
love it.
involved.
You'll
will.
love it.
Thank
Perfect. And you can go home at night.
So, last question for you all: where do you see the future of technology in the classroom? And I'll kind of start with you, Dr. Rhodes. Where do you see us going at the college?
Yeah, I think we're in uncharted territory.
Absolutely.
And every day's a new day. And it's probably one of the more exciting times to be in education, in higher education, because you're not going to do the same thing every day. Every day you're going to learn something new, and it gets so exciting because it is fast paced, and at times it can feel like you're under a lot of pressure.
Right.
But technology is just, it just opens the doors for students like Claudia and her family, because it sets the example for all of those kids. They know you now have expectations of them, and they know that, and they want to live up to that. But I think technology is such a fast-paced change that it just keeps getting exciting every day, and we find different ways to. And I'll give you an example. Think about when I went through college and the amount of money I spent on textbooks. And today, with open source, open educational resources and things that are out there, that we can cut the costs for students significantly just by eliminating the cost of textbook, as an example. Technology does that.
Absolutely.
I like the flexibility it gives community college students, because at the beginning of Digital Fellows, they had a student panel. And, when you really listen to the lives of the students that we work with, they're chaotic. And so I do think technology allows us to be more flexible, because I can tape a lesson and send it to a student by flipping the classroom, and they can still get that lesson and still come back and still communicate and work in the classroom. So flexibility, I think, is going to be huge. I think it's going to be outside the classroom. We don't call it a classroom.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Virtual classroom, or the classroom without walls. Getting that notion again.
Right.
I agree with Mrs. Duncan. Like, as a student, I think it's accessibility. It's like me having my school with me 24/7.
Right.
Yeah, that's
the possibilities are endless, right?
And then I love it that doctor says that we learn something every day. That's something that I remind my children every day. We learn something every day, and with technology, we will.
Awesome. Yes. I agree, and I definitely reflect back on our General Assembly, where the theme was we're on a different planet, or we're doing things out of this world.
Right.
And we are, to set the stage as a community college with the most Adobe, with iPads, with changing lives through technology. We're only going to go further and soar higher. So it is the future that we're living now, and I appreciate that opportunity. The budget, we know that it costs, and we're doing it. So I appreciate it.
And it doesn't happen in isolation, and so it requires great partners like Adobe, like Apple, like Dell.
Yeah.
They're all great partners. Samsung. We have so many good partners that want to help us in the development and delivery of education through technology, with assistive technology.
Absolutely engaging. Good job.
But the heart, technology is great, but at the heart of it, it's that personal relationship and that touch that happens between faculty and student that allows them to grow and prosper.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. This was a really amazing conversation. I know I learned a lot. And so thank you so much, Dr. Rhodes, Patty, Claudia, and Samantha. We loved having you today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome. Anytime.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Jess is proud.
Well, thank you so much. Just to wrap things up, thank you so much for joining the President's Podcast. We hope to see you next time.